For the last 6 months, we've had the Expedition 1 rear bumper on Project Rampage. With any Overland build, there's a fine compromise between weight and space. Yes, the rear bumper does add weight, but it also removes the spare tire out from underneath the Jeep Gladiator, providing room for further expansion in the future. It also allows convenient access to our harbor freight jack, as well as a convenient spot for water. I do want to show you the process of installation, because this bumper is not an easy project. However, the fit, finish, and final results with style and looks are well worth the install and the price.
We rate this as a level 3 install, which I would agree to because there are a lot of bolts and pieces on this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. John here. It's time to start building our dreams, and that is truly what we're doing with Project Rampage. We transferred everything over from our 2021 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon with a manual to the 2023 Eco Diesel Gladiator. In the front, we've got the new diesel coils from Clay and Off-Road. In the back, we've got the triple rated HD springs. We're still running our tried and true 37-1350 load range E Toyo MTs, and we're also getting ready to install the Expedition 1 bumper. So thanks to our partial sponsors. I genuinely appreciate their help on the channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you would, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button for early access. Check us out over on TikTok and Instagram, and let's get this project started. So roll the video. Hold on. So if you're like me, I didn't get to the project right away, and so I threw a tarp over the box. Now the entire bumper is packaged, but there has been a few rainstorms, and you know, Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate. Here in the box, you'll notice there is a little bit of surface rust on here, which is no big deal. We'll clean that up before we put everything together. Everything else is wrapped in plastic, so it's good. So that is not Expedition 1's fault. That is definitely my fault. And we've got some rust remover we can use for that. As you can see, it's a big bumper, and it's going to go right on the back over here. So we got a lot of work to do. And so I went with the MOAB bundle, and the MOAB bundle includes 2 jerry can holders, a spare tire holder. So that's what your jerry can holders look like. Got 2 of those. We'll have, this is something you can custom order. This is not included in the MOAB kit. It's a pull pal and farm jack holder, or high lift jack holder. So you can mount up to 3 items on here on this side, and then you'll have the spare tire on the other side. This is one of the swing outs. It's not too heavy. So inside of here, we've got our relocation bracket, the side brackets. You got the bumper bearings, high quality aluminum, so that's cool. So here's our top bumper tread plate. Over on this side, we got another box. Pop this open for you, and I'd say this is probably the spare tire box for your universal spare tire kit. And yeah, so we got more mounting brackets on this side too. Here's the handles and stuff for your pull pal, high lift jack mount. And the MOAB kit is a little bit more expensive. This is one of the bumper brackets you're gonna need. And so there's a lot of bolts and brackets. And here's your Expedition Gladiator hardware set here. So all these bolts are packaged. And then here's some more dressing kits there, I would say probably for the top plates. We're gonna start pulling the old bumper apart, and then we'll start installing the new bumper. All right guys, so we already took the license plate off, as you can see there. So we'll have to remove the bumper, the hooks, disconnect all the wiring, and then we'll be able to start taking this thing apart. So let me show you what we've got going on under here. On this side, under the skid, you've got 3 bolts on each side. You're gonna have to take these loose up behind here, and these are all 15 millimeter, so 15 fits there. You got some hidden bolts up here, one on each side, the other one's up here, and you're actually gonna put those back in. Down here, you're gonna have a couple of, looks like T40 bolts on the bottom side where your trailer hitch is. If you got a trailer hitch package that connect the bumper to the reinforcement here, you got a couple of through bolts here on the back side. So over on this side, we got some 16 millimeters. So the order of things is we're gonna drop the spare tire, disconnect the electrical, and if you look here, looks like there's a plug on the back side. Some of these, if you got parking sensors, you may have another wiring harness on the passenger side. On the driver's side here, we're gonna disconnect this clip. We're gonna disconnect the trailer wiring harness. And so we'll disconnect that, and then we will take and we'll disconnect this up here. All this stuff will transfer over to the new bumper, and so we'll have to wire that up. Now I think if you got parking sensors, they're actually run down this side of the body. All the wires you see up in there are actually run to the body, as far as I can tell right now. You do have a few other bolts in the back. They're not 15, they're 16s, and so this one here is a 16 mil. So mixes 15, 16 mils, and then you've got some larger bolts. Take a look from there. We'll have to pull off these brackets. You get new brackets with the new bumper, and so you'll use the Expedition 1 versions, which are a little bit beefier, I think. So these stock bumpers aren't bad, especially the rear ones. As you can see, the hitch and the bumper are integrated, so if you were ever to have an accident in your Gladiator Rubicon, you'll see a lot of them get the rear end crushed, and that's why, because the towing package on these really takes the brunt of the impact, and that's why, as you can see, everything's tied into the frame. So if you get hit, basically everything on the back's got to be replaced. So let's go ahead and start taking this thing apart. All right guys, so we got the jack kit and lower our spare tire. So if you've never done this before, it's pretty easy. You got the hook end, which is used for your jack, which once you lift your vehicle, you'll never be able to really use that. And then on these ends, it just comes with some brackets, square attachments here and here. Feed it in here, there's a tube. It goes in and it connects to your tire. So that's the first time that that's ever happened like that. So once you get that rod connected, you just take and you just start lowering this down, and you'll see that it's going to come loose, and it's a big loop of cable. But you just turn, get to your spare. That's how you do it. You drop it down on the ground, you give it a couple extra turns. Then there's a bracket in the middle of the tire that just pops right out. Once you get that bracket out, everything's free. You can take this little spare and you can move it to the side. And that back up till it stops. So there's that. Put our rods away. We don't really need these now, that we'll have a dual rear tire carrier, but just in case you ever wondered how to take your spare tire out, that's how you do it. All right guys, so now we can get to the back side of this wiring harness. We don't want to pull everything completely loose, but we are going to see if there is a way to disconnect this. All right guys, so what I had to do is I shoved my screwdriver down this part, and then I actually came back other side, pushed it in, wiggled it until it popped loose. So that is now disconnected. Take our body tool, pop it loose everywhere else. There's that one, there's that one, and then we'll disconnect this one and just move this cord out of the way. So I'll just take and put this up here, and that way all of our stuff will be up out of the way. On this one here, it is another, this one's got a red tab on it. So the red tab ones, you just kind of pull out the red tab here, and it feels like it came out quite a bit already. Usually you just pull that red tab out, and then you can squeeze and pull. Basically pull the red locking tab out, push in on this little gray bridge, and it slides right out. And I think this is just for your lights that go to your license plate. The wire's disconnected, and then we're just coming along and we're pulling these out. All right. And that one we'll just kind of tuck it in the bumper for now. All right, make sure there's no other wires connected on the inside or outside. All right guys, so these are actually a T45. You can get them loose. They're not really tight, but, and we'll go put these in a magnetic tray. All right guys, we're gonna take these loose. So, okay, that part's loose. It's on the bumper. Here behind the exhaust, 2 nuts. I'm gonna leave that one on there for safety measure. So we got the 2 out of the middle. I think the last 2 we'll have to pull over here. All right guys, so last 2 we're gonna take loose are right here. All right, that's just gonna rest on the hooks. And it's not too bad. All right guys, so that's what the back of a naked Gladiator looks like. Now we're just gonna take the hooks off. These are 21 millimeters. All right. So there's a through bolt on each side. We're gonna take loose 18 mil. These things are long, one on each side. There we go. Get some 15 mils. We're gonna have to crawl under there and get. This one's gonna be a little bit hard because behind the muffler. All right. All right guys, we're gonna come over this side, take this one off. Okay, get our guard assemblies off. I'm gonna try to take this brand new beautiful piece of hardware and stick it up underneath the Jeep. So this will go kind of like this. We're gonna use new bolts for the bottom, and then we'll use the factory bolts for the top. And I'm assuming if you get a Sport, you need to have these bolts, or, because I don't know if they come with the kit or not. And when in doubt, all you need to do is just get one started at a time. There's one inside here. Run that one down a little. Just get the thread started. Come up here. Put your other one in. And these are metric. So get those started. When you go to do your final install, that's when you'll tighten everything down. So now you just want to kind of leave it loose. And here we're using new hardware. So hopefully you'll be able to see we got our bracket on. We started this one by hand, one on the outside by hand. And then we're gonna keep a low profile. Use these large washers. I only found 4 in the kit. And you'll need a 19 millimeter to tighten this down. But you kind of want to leave everything a little bit loose until you get your bumper started for these brackets though, because you may want to take and tuck it up closer to the body, drop it down more. But right now we're just going to kind of let it hang, and we're just going to snug it down just a little bit. You don't want it too tight, you want it a little bit loose. So you can always come back and tighten those up later. On the drawing it has these going in, so we can put it like such, and then we can put that one in that way. So this horn on this side is going to be a little bit more difficult to get to because you've got the exhaust here. Oh, there we go. And that's going to go up in there like that. We'll put our bolt that's on the inside in first. This is just done by feel. So they do rate this as a level 3 install, which I would agree to because there are a lot of bolts and pieces on this. But hopefully this video will help you guys out because instructions are pretty good. So we got those two started. Now we're going to come back with our large bolt, put it in at the bottom loosely, and then we'll just run those down again, leaving everything kind of loose until we get it into the final position, because this does go through the frame and the skids on the new bumper are pretty heavy duty. Get in here with this ratchet, run that one down, put one washer on each side, and these are the biggest washers and these are the biggest bolts, so that's where we're going with these. So we got that in and we'll come back, crank it down later. Guys, a couple things I want to show you real quick is you got two brackets that go on the back of your hitch here, and one has a B carved into it, so that one's a B and that one's a T. So the T will go on top up here, and then the B actually gets inserted here, and those get bolted together. So we'll show you how that goes. All right guys, so we came in, washer and nut. Again, you're gonna leave these a little bit loose, and you'll come back and you'll torque everything down at the end. And you got these two, you'll use these two holes, and then you'll use a 3 on the bottom side. So looking pretty good. We're gonna scoot the pallet under, put one end on jack stands, and just do, and once we get the first bolt started, we should be able to get the bumper up pretty close and into place. So I might just turn you guys a time lapse while I figure this out and then tell you what I did. All right guys, that wasn't too horribly bad. So we kind of got this bolt started, came up over the top, started the bolt, got that bolt, just barely threw it on, and we moved it in position so that the rear corner guards would go around where the fenders are. So it was stuck on this fender here. This is all my fault. Those spindles were brand new. We'll have to clean those up before we do the final assembly. But basically we have 4 bolts that have to go through here, 4 bolts that go through here, and then just like before, 3 that come from underneath each side. So let's keep going. All right guys, so we're just gonna go around and we're gonna start loosely putting all the hardware in. Fairly technical, but definitely not impossible. Get everything in place where you want it, and then you'll be good. All right guys, so bumper is mounted. In order to get the bumper contour to the body lines, put the Harbor Freight Jack under there. And that Harbor Freight Jack is actually going to start going with us thanks to Grove Fab Works. They make a special mount for the Harbor Freight Jack. This thing, as you can see, it's a little bit rusty. It's been traveling in the back of the Jeep for quite a while. But this thing really is like a building block of Legos. There are so many different bolts. They did a good job of organizing everything, I think. But we got to run the frame bolts down first, then we'll run the side bolts down tight. We'll do our upper and lower brackets, get those nice and tight, and then we'll do our side brackets to pull everything in. So that's the game plan. I'll turn you guys to time lapse, and I'm just going to tighten this stuff down. Alright guys, so we're running out of daylight. We'll just kind of mock this up, put this piece of trim up here, just to see what it's going to look like. You are going to have to trim your license plate a little at the bottom in order to get it fit back in there. But that's no big deal. Just if you got a pair of 10 snips, just trim off the bottom. Alright guys, so it's been a few days since we put the bumper on the back of the Jeep. The issue is the spindles are not stainless steel. This is not the fault of Expedition 1, it's just something to be aware of. So I've driven around for about a week and I cleaned this up some, or some PB blaster, and got a little bit of the rust off. But really, if you want to get it looking brand new, this right here, my friends, barkeepers friends, pretty good stuff. So I just put a little bit on a Scotch-Brite and cleaned it up, and that'll get it pretty much clean. And you just want to make sure you wash away any water afterwards. So that one there is looking all shiny and new. So if your spindles get a little rusty, it's okay. You're gonna have to do maintenance over time. And so what we'll do real quick is we'll clean up this side. And so all we're gonna do, take some powder here, put it on the back of the sponge. You want your sponge to be a little bit damp. Ideally, you want this to be a little bit of a paste, but we're just gonna try to work that in a little bit. And this is by no means part of the install. You can already see it's getting cleaner, especially the top here. Top needs some love.
Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old.
Alright guys, that's how you take a rusty spindle and you get it looking new. So now that we're on kind of the approach to the final details here. So this is the factory plug that came with it. It's got two clips here. You push that in, pull it out of the other bumper, and then it's inverted on this one. And do is after you slide this in, so we're going to take this and put it in. And on the back side, we'll bend the tabs out so it's in there nice and tight, because right now you can basically just pop it right out. So it's in there, but it's not super tight. And we want things to be tight. Expedition 1 instructions are pretty good. I usually look at the assembly, so we're actually going to do the latches first, and then we'll come back and we'll do the arms. So this is kind of take your time, do it right, and when you're done, you'll be happy with your product. I hope you guys don't mind me playing a little Jenga here. There's that. Right in the middle. Just try and keep everything nice and square. I'm going to take two of these. Put them through, put the washers on, put our nuts on. Our ratchet here, and we're just going to take and snug these down like Legos. But if you want the fancy hinges, you gotta do the work. I've wanted one of these since my buddy Lewis got the JCR one on his Gladiator probably 2-3 years ago. And he's actually got an install video on the JCR bumper, but I don't know, I really like this. And then that's gonna go in here. Looks like everything's gonna line up, so we got this one complete. As long as you don't lose any pieces. So I'm glad I pulled out this little table. maybe we use these now, maybe if we end up taking them out. Grab this one, put it on there, put it through our aluminum tab, and put everything down like that. And you'll know because these are coarse thread and the other ones are fine thread. All right guys, so you're just gonna take these, try not to hit your fingers, but you're gonna have to work those down into place. I don't like using screwdrivers for this, but that's what we're gonna do. Okay, that one's good. That one's good. All right, now we're just gonna take our plate here. Now we're gonna screw that on using these hex bolts. I think I figured it out. The long ones are for your top plates here, and the other ones are for the regular bolts. Let's find a socket the right size. All right guys, so tying these 4 bolts up here, and you got some upward, downward, side to side you can do. Our longer ones are going to go through. Looks like this back plate, the welded part, is going to go away, and conveniently there's a hole up here to try and get these through. So put a bolt on, try to put our nut on the back. All right guys, so what we learned doing this side is we put this bar in first, just so it didn't take and interfere with these. We actually moved these rubber pieces down. There's 4 bolts. Actually need to tighten those up real quick, and then we'll get started on the other side. All right guys, hopefully you'll be able to see what we're doing. So put these little brackets on, move them into place. All right, like we did last time, putting the flat bar on the back. Take our 2 long bolts here, find the nuts for those, keep that bar up kind of high. All right guys, before we can take and mount our tire carriers, because you got to put these little plates on there. The thing is they're bent, so the tire carrier comes up and locks. So this one goes to that side, this one goes to this side. We've got to mount our plate here, and this tread plate has a piece of film over it. So we'll want to take that off, because if we don't, it'll crack like our other CVT one. And like everything in this kit, we're just gonna put together loose and then tighten it down. And they give you the one that says Expedition Tread Plate 10-pack. So shout out Expedition 1 hooked me up with a Make Jeeping Great Again shirt. Try to remain no politics on this channel. All right guys, before we put the tire carrier on, we're going to put the plate on. And so we put and this one's got a little bit of a twist to it. That's why we left everything kind of loose and just put the nuts on the bottom. And so what we're going to do is come up from underneath with the nut, put these on the back side. You definitely don't want to mount your lights first thing. Put a wrench back there where our fingers are. And we'll tighten this plate down. Now before we crank down everything in the middle, we're going to go do the plate on the other side. And what I did before, when I couldn't get it exactly lined up, I just kind of lifted it up. And even if it's at an angle like that, I can go down with it. Put the two in the back here. There's one there. That one's gonna have to come down. Just kind of stops when it stops. Okay, now that we've got that one in, we can do some of these others. Alright guys, so now that we've got the plate on here for the most part, we got our brackets with the ridge coming up. We're going to start putting on our swing arms, but in order to do that, we've got to pack some bearings. So I'm gonna grab some paper towels and I'll show you guys how that's done. So these are just roller bearings here. Alright, and basically you're gonna put some grease on your hand. You're just gonna work these in. You're gonna slime the inside, slime your shaft, and we're just going to dry fit them right now. Yeah, so they're going to be tight. At the end, above the bearings on the top sides, we'll put these in. One thing important note here is you'll have two bearings per side. So we got two bearings here. We'll take and get those, and then you have a seal right here. Seal is going to go kind of like that. These are the same as wheel bearings, but you're not going to put as many, rotations or revolutions on these. So that's why I'm using the Lucas green grease. They recommend using marine grade. This has all the same stuff, the waterproof and everything else, but this is made for irregular maintenance. So we're going to do that, and there's no good way to do it other than to just get started. And all we're going to do is take and start packing our bearing. Now I probably got way too much grease on here, but that's okay. Leave a comment. I mean, a lot of y'all probably use the marine grade grease. I just like this Lucas grease personally. Alright guys, so we got our 3/4 drive, 36 millimeter ready to go, and that's what we'll need to crank down that nut. This is out of a Harbor Freight tool set. Note the Craftsman 36 millimeter does not work with that nut. So one thing we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to open this up. And you're going to want to ensure that your bearing race is down in there. Don't drop this on your foot. It's not super heavy, maybe 40 pounds. Okay, we're going to inspect. You can see the race is pushed down on this side, and you can see the bearing race is pushed down on that side. Grease in here as well on those bearing races. That way we don't have anything dry. Put a little bit where the seal is going to go in. So the seal will go down like that. It actually just kind of floats. Grease the race on the other side. All right, I think we're good. The way this thing's going to go, so you're going to have one here. That's going to be, we're just going to kind of sit that on there for now. We have one comes over the top like such. And then we'll have one that we come back with after we get this lifted up into place. So set that right there. Hold on to it. Drop our top bearing in, tapered in down. All right. I'm going to take our nut and our washer. I'm going to drop those on. You don't have to go super tight. I would go snug with these until they stop. All right, now I can't move it by hand anymore. We're just gonna slowly turn until we start to feel friction here. We don't want to mess up any of our bearings. So, all right, I feel it's starting to get tight. So we're actually pressing these bearings together. So we want to keep moving the gate nice and easy. Go slow with your wrench. You can go fast with your gate. Everything is meant to go square. I can feel again a little tight. We're going to want to seat those bearings. Because what you don't want to do, you don't want to have anything loose, especially with a 120-pound tire going down the road. Those are definitely getting tight. And so that'll go right there. I think that's pretty good. Give it a little more. And you're going to want to come back and tighten this up. Biggest thing is you don't want any up and down movement with this thing. All right. I would say that is in place right there. Flip that over. Taper towards the middle. Washer and our nut. Move it around a little. Because what we're doing is we're seating those bearings. As we saw on the other side, we were able to go all the way down. If you go too fast or bearing binds, you can break it. I'd say that's pretty well seated. And we're not going to put the caps on until we get the center brackets on. I've already got that one mocked up on the right. All right guys, next thing on the menu, these are the brackets we need to install our hinges. So let's pop these open. Everything is superbly wrapped. They do outsource their powder coaters at Expedition 1. And if you order one of these, you'll get to know the team over time. It does take a while to produce one of these bumpers. They are 100% American made. Their team welds in-house because they have a cutting and fabrication shop. Hex bolts go on the bottom and your button heads go through here. You got your hex cap screws down here, your hex bolts. These go up from underneath. Put our other side on with a bolt and a nut. And your button heads here go like that. And that one's, wow, that one's actually cracked. Huh. I'm surprised. That's not cool. It's not cool at all. So this one here is actually a little bit cracked. So push you guys back a little bit. I don't think that's Expedition 1's fault. That is their supplier's fault, because I don't think they make any of the bolts in-house. So yeah, that's concerning. We were just going to do this by hand because of space. All right guys, so in order to mount our latch mechanism here, we're going to be using these carriage bolts. I'm still a little bit worried about that one. I do need to tighten those up before we do the carriage bolts. So grab our 3/4 and our 8 mil. I think that looked pretty good where it was. There's that. That'll go right like that. And we'll put a carriage bolt here. And then this will go up and through. And then on the back side is where our washers and nuts will go. Take our 2 thick washers here from the kit. One there. Our nylon lock nuts. These are 1/2 inch. You can use a regular hex bolt. It's non-locking hex bolt here. All right guys, so we got the passenger side hooked up. This side now opens. And it locks into place. In order to close it, just come over here, pull up our tab, swing it over, and it's definitely tight. The thing I know about these tailgate doors is if you're not paying attention, they can open up too far on you. All right guys, so this side opens and locks. So that's good. The last thing we need to do tonight, because it is raining, we need to put these caps on. And so there's 2 of these caps. They come with a little bit of anti-seize, and we're just gonna put these on by hand. And this anti-seize will keep these caps from getting stuck. So just put a bead, doesn't take much. More is always better. There. Put it on threads, and we can take this. We'll should be able to do this by hand for the most part. And voila, and that nice pretty bead around. Put this on. All right, guys. I do tonight, hook up the trailer harness. I still have to wire up the lights. I gotta hang the accessories, so we'll do that tomorrow. I think this project probably take you about 2 days if you did it non-stop. Could do it over a long weekend, but yeah, it's definitely, because of the tools involved, it's definitely takes a little bit more work than other things. Thing I didn't show you on this side, because my camera battery died, is I did install the latch. I've got to do it on that side. And then tomorrow, I'll show you how everything works. And we will take and do the trailer hitch tonight and clean up because of the rain and it's dark. But thanks for watching. Now would be a great time to smash that like button, and tomorrow we're going to mount all of our goodies on the back. All right guys, so this is a tool I was going to do a review on. Never got to it because this tool does not live up to the DeWalt name. You might as well buy one of these at like whatever brand you want, and it eats batteries. So, but we do have the spare tire here, which did travel, you know, 30,000 plus miles underneath the other Jeep. It's caked in mud, dirt, salt, grime, everything else. We're gonna clean it up before we throw it on the new tire carrier. So enjoy. All right guys, as you can see, this wheel is filthy. I picked this stuff up at the local auto parts store, heavy duty wheel and tire cleaner. We're just gonna spray this on and let it sit. Let me show you what I did over here with the tire mount. So we were running a 37-inch tire, and we measured the back spacing, which is basically the tread up to the wheel. We came up with about 7 1/4. From here, we came over half of 37 inches is 18 1/2. So 18 1/2 is roughly right here. So we kept that as our center line for the tire. We know that the tire is going to hang down another 18 1/2, which that hole there is about the center, and we want to be able to get to our latch down here. So that's what I used to take and frame up the mount. I guess there's been some questions on this. You have one plate, a couple of bolts here I put top and bottom. I wanted to stay below this line because there's another rib back there reinforcing this, and so we mounted that with some smaller bolts, and then there's 3 large bolts and some channels to let you adjust this distance. I've got a table here, so we're going to use a table once we get done cleaning up the tire to put the tire on the table and then lift the tire up into place. This same table I'd take with me, so I want to be able to do something that I'd be able to do out on the trail, because that tire combination about 125 pounds between the wheel and the tire, so just keep that in mind. You can save a picture right here. This is the bolt pattern that I used. I used an AV wheel that I had from our original set. Had a crack in it, but anyway, you need a 5-on-5. So for the Gladiator, we use this one, and then we use these. This is universal, so you got to find the right holes. There's a washer you put on here, and then you run down the lug nuts that come with the kit, and there's a washer on the back side. So let me give you guys a quick close-up of that. So there's the bolt pattern there. You got this top hole, this hole, and this hole. Let you guys see that. And then on the back side here, there's a steel washer that I used, and there's a large washer I put on the front. Used the lug nut there and pulled that tight. So wrestle the tire up onto the table, and then wrestle the tire onto the Jeep. It's gonna be heavy. All right, that wasn't horrible. Hopefully our table doesn't break. We're just gonna take and try to line up that top lug. Would be nice. See if we could rotate it a little and get the part that says Toyo MT up top because of our partnership with Toyo. All right, throw our lug nut on, and we're gonna move this out of the way. That, guys, is gonna be good, I think. Dress this up a little. We're gonna throw our tactic wheel on there. All right, guys, so we got the 37-inch Toyo MT mounted up. We were able to reuse our Method Racing lug nuts with the center cap for our tactic wheels. I ordered the MOAB kit. You can just order the tire carrier with the base model. They've got different models like the Teton, and I went with the MOAB. They also have a Denali kit out there. And so the MOAB comes with 2 fuel can, NATO scepter can holders, and a high lift jack. Now, I thought when I ordered it, it came with the pull pow option too, but it does not. And I was able to call them and work out a deal to get the pull pow holder and the high lift jack holder, because I really don't have a use for the high lift jack because I've got the Harbor Freight jack. And for the Harbor Freight jack, I plan to use this bracket here from Grove Fab Works. So this will be going in. When you want to talk priorities, really, to me, the jack is the #1 thing. I'm tired of it being in the bed of the truck and hard to get to. I want it to where I can use it at the house, throw it on the rig when we go adventure, and then, you know, take it back off. So that's a priority. And I think water can is a priority. And depending on how much space we have, we may or may not run a third accessory, but we'll go ahead and install the third accessory arm because they do make a single pull pal holder. So in my dream setup would be extra water, the Harbor Freight jack, and a pull pal. Because we do a lot of beach driving and solo trips where, you know, our vehicle's the only one out there and there's not always a tree to tie off onto in case you were to get stuck or something. So I want to be completely self-reliant. And so that's the setup I'm going to use. I'm going to turn you guys a time lapse and I'm going to start putting this stuff together. So stick around. So this really is about preference and trial and error. So just take your time and figure out what you want to use and set your rig up so that it works best for you. Let me show you kind of in the daylight what we got going on here. So over on the side we mounted one of our jerry can holders. It's got some hardware that comes with it, and then we've got our Harbor Freight jack inside this cool Grove Fabworks cover, and it bolts down. I did have to drill some holes at the bottom to mount this up, but you basically push it in, push down, and it's locked. This side, little tab there you push and you push down. So that's how I do it. What we're going to do now is we got to do the lights for the license plate and the backup camera. So we're going to do that. That'll be the last two things for this project, and then we should be able to start doing some adventures, go to some events and what have you. So try and get this knocked out, and thanks for watching. All right guys, so we've got a couple of different Torx bits here. I think a T30 is going to work for us, so put that on, and we'll just pop all this off so you can see what all's involved. This is the cover right behind the camera. There we go. All right, if you look down in here, you'll be able to see there's a camera. So here's these two and the wire. Looks like they're run parallel to the third brake light. So we'll open up this other panel, take a look at everything. Take our body tool. Oop, that one actually is pretty loose, so that's good. I don't think we're gonna have to really do a whole lot. The third brake light is up here, and our tailgate latch is here. So you get this wire here. This is clearly the wiring harness to the bulb. It's taped into this other wiring harness, so I'm afraid we're gonna actually have to split this one out from the brake light. And the brake lights, we're actually gonna pull those for if we get a canopy. Clip just kind of slides off the side, so pull that off. All right guys, so I had to go find a T6 out of the garage. And so we're gonna take and pull these loose. Okay, there's that, and there's the camera assembly. So that's good. So that'll just come out like such. There we go. So a little bit of leverage, and we got our optical camera out. So don't want that staring in the sun. And that's literally an optical cable. Sometimes you come in from the back side, push. This is why they said moderate skill. So take that off. clip here for the light. And so pull that out. Push that through. There's another clip back in here for lock or power tailgate. Disconnect that. Got that one out and loose. Got that one out and loose. There's one more down in here I can feel. Alright, so we got our wiring harness here loose from the tailgate. We'll have to remember to plug everything up. And that we can, looks like we can just pull this out. Alright. So we will continue taking this apart. Don't want to cut any wires, just the tape. Alright, there's all that. We pulled the harness off of our other light set. It's kind of sad that this isn't just plug and play, but it is what it is. We got the heat gun going here. Cover these wires up so that they're protected underneath the Jeep. Turns out these lights were backwards. I don't know if I sent a note to Expedition 1. Never seen that before, but these black went to white and white went to black. So if you're having problems during your install, check them with a 9-volt battery. They may be backwards. Traditionally, you know, white goes to white, black goes to black, but that's weird. So let me light this thing up and I'll show you. The license plate lights are working now. Tidy up my wires below and this project will be done. Things I can add on in the future are down here at the bottom. I've got some room. I could put some night lights in here or aux beam lights. They have a few different varieties. I haven't decided if I want to wire them to the backup lights. I may actually run them separate to my controller up front, but we're not going to do that today. Everything is pretty much done. Lights all work, so we're ready to hit the road. Call it a night. All right, so that's that. Bumper is installed. I don't have the sensors. I got the little bezel things. We may see if we can get some online, get some backup sensors, and then for the most part, we'll install some lights at another time. But hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you would, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, ring the bell so you get the notifications, and keep coming back for more. Once again, I'm building my dream Jeep. I get to share that with you guys. But the true purpose of this channel is inform, motivate, and inspire you so you can get out there and start building your dreams.